Today, the Goblin has been doing some shadow puppets on day 79 of Goblin's Greed development. While working on the dungeon rooms, the lights and their shadow casting caught my attention. At first, I was just disabling shadows on the torches and leaving the shadow casting to the main light in the middle of the room. But even that method, with a large amount of rooms, there could be an impact on performance. Dynamic shadows can be one of the most expensive rendering costs in video games because casting shadows requires the GPU to render the scene from the light's perspective for each light casting a shadow. So overall, I needed a better system. My first iteration was simply enabling shadows when a player enters the room. Honestly, this could work, and it's a really easy solution, and it's not far off from my final solution, but here's the problem with that. The shadows very obviously pop in and out. Again, this could work for some things, but I just wanted a different result. What I want is to toggle the shadows based on distance to the player. The thing to consider is who monitors this. The lights themselves, the rooms. I pondered over this for a bit. If I give the responsibility to the lights, and just for example, let's say there's 100 lights in the scene, that's 100 lights making regular checks on if there's a player nearby. I then extrapolated that line of thinking to the rooms themselves. That would reduce the amount of checks, but it still leaves the issue of faraway light sources doing constant, unnecessary checks. If a player is on the first room of the first floor, there's no reason for there to be checks on other floors. Ultimately, I landed on attaching this logic to the player and using an overlap sphere and giving it a large radius, and at regular intervals get the lights that are nearby and simply toggle their cast shadow variable based on their distance to the player. Now that still has the possibility for pop-in like the first solution, but I think with the right distance and all the twists and turns in the dungeon, it won't be noticed. Another note is that shadows should only be client-side. All of this logic is isolated to the individual players, so the shadows being cast for one player won't affect another, regardless of what floor and what room you're on. That will cover day 79. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.